like, oh, here are the creepy indigenous people that work for him, and they just like smile at her and like, red rabbit, red rabbit. Okay, let's talk about Blink Twice. And it's about a billionaire, played by Channing Tatum, who invites a gaggle of people, including some common folk, to an island. And of course, bad stuff's going to happen if a billionaire takes you to an island. It was directed by Zoe Kravitz. She played Catwoman in the last Batman movie. She's in Big Little Lies. Yeah, the daughter of Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet. She's an actress. But anyway, I thought she did a really good job directing. I thought she had a really good visual. There was some great visuals in it. I'm not always like for actors becoming directors, but I thought she did a pretty solid job with it. I thought that the same thing with Jordan Peele when he made Get Out. I'm like, Jordan Peele's directing a movie, and then Get Out turned out to be like a phenomenal film.
Yeah.
And this has a lot of. I think this feels a lot like Get Out to me.
Yeah, now you mention that. Now I mention that it does offer the same type of vibe. I feel like it delivers similar message as well.
And there's a ton of actors in here that I haven't seen in like years. So you have Channing Tatum, you have Naomi Aki, and I've seen her in a couple things. I've seen her. It's like a Netflix miniseries called The End of the Fucking World. I think you would like it.
Okay.
Haley Joel Osment, he was like a kid actor. He's a chubby guy that ate eggs all the time. Aaliyah Shawkat, you know her. She's from Search Party. Yep. And okay, Christian Slater, he's like an actor from the 80s and 90s. He's the older guy. But yeah, I was surprised to see him. I was surprised to see Gina Davis.
Which one's that?
That she was the lady that worked for Channing Tatum.
Oh.
She was in Beetlejuice. She's one of the dead wife. And then Kyle MacLachlan, he is like the original Paul Atreides in Dune in the 80s. But yeah, I was surprised to see a lot of these actors in here. It's kind of nice to see Gina Davis again. I don't remember the last time I seen her in a movie. It's like a mishmash of a lot of things this movie is. It kind of feels like Hostel, feels like Get Out, and another one, and I Spit on Your Grave.
Really?
A little bit, like a mainstream I Spit on Your Grave, a little bit.
Maybe parts of it.
Yeah, I mean that's you really like the remake of
Yes, yes.
because you're a sick freak.
Yes, I am.
And yeah, it borrows a lot from the Jeffrey Epstein Lolita Island stuff. So not to give anything away, but yeah, and I liked it for the most part. It was intriguing, and I think it paid off. I think I had just a few gripes about it. Like, first of all, I hate like when they do like, oh, here are the creepy indigenous people that work for him, and they just like smile at her and like, red rabbit, red rabbit. And I'm like, really, we got to do this?
It was, but I mean, it seemed to be what a lot of movie does.
Yeah, and I don't really care for that trope. I mean, it's 2024. You don't really need that trope anymore. But yeah, and it's just like, of course, they're not like the evil ones or anything. But yeah, I don't always like, we're doing this again, really? And yeah, and I think some of the tonals, it's tonally all over the place. So, oh, and another interesting fact is that this movie started with a trigger warning, which I've never seen in the theater. Did you read that? The MGM thing with the trigger warning at the beginning? And I totally understand why it's there because the reveal is pretty fucking disturbing, I think.
Yeah, I was
And
surprised at you to that.
yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying, I'm not someone who gets triggered, but if someone needs it, sure. And especially for this movie, I can see why. So it's not a complaint. I just thought it was an interesting fact that it started with a trigger warning. Like I'm like, and it's kind of spoilery a little bit if you're gonna have that in the front of the movie.
The thing is, the trigger warning says sexual violence.
Yeah.
Which I think most people come in and kind of already sense that. Because what's a rich man doing with a waitress?
Yeah.
There's gonna be something, sexual happening there, but it the visual, like you said, the visual effect. I'm surprised that they even shoot those scenes and even like had it on screen. It went beyond sexual violence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it gets pretty violent towards the end too, but so you know, there is sexual violence in it, but it's like it reveals that, but it doesn't. It's still kind of
It,
got some jokey parts in it, which is kind of weird, isn't it? Like,
I think I don't know because like the first part of the movie before they even get to the sexual violence, you are just feeling that you're just getting this White Lotus vibe. You're just like on vacation, rich people, champagne, raspberry, and doing all the cool stuff, swimming pool.
yeah,
Yeah, right?
and that's one of my complaints was when I was watching it is like you get to see the same thing over and over, but I think it's effective because after a while these people are kind of bored with it. It seems like they're there the next morning and they're just kind of like, they just feel like they're kind of over it. Or
You mean the
yeah, well, like the main character, like she knows something's off.
I don't think that they were bored with it. I think the next morning they come out from the night
Yeah, yeah.
and they are tired
Mm.
because of what happened last night.
Yeah. Did you find the twist satisfying to you?
It is a big twist.
It takes some big swings with
Yes,
that.
but I don't think it's I think if I can persuade myself to believe that that actually happened, I'm gonna say it's a good twist. It's
Yeah.
good enough.
Well, I think it's interesting. I like it because I think it's interesting that they tie in what they do along with like these people getting canceled for the things they do because they don't feel like they ever get forgiveness, and then also for people who have trauma and want to forget that trauma. I think it all ties in pretty nicely, I
Yeah,
think.
I agree.
Overall, is there anything you didn't like about Blink Twice?
The pace is kind of odd. I feel like it was kind of slow at first, or maybe the first half is kind of slow. I mean, obviously you sense something's going on.
It takes a while for it to reveal itself too.
Yeah.
Like that's what one of my complaints was, like in the indigenous people is like I just keep going to shots of those like to make you feel unsettled.
Yeah, yeah. The weird servant on the island, but you know, is specifically focused on when she found a lip balm.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
The camera like focused on the perfume,
Mm-hmm.
and then with the lady
It's setting up everything.
who keep catching snakes. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a very the island is full of snakes. So I know that something those were intentional and is leading to something, but there were a lot of them, and it just give you and it doesn't really give you one clue because the twist that they build up to, I don't think you can really see it. You don't you can't really it's not something that you can predict.
yeah,
The twist that they set up, I think it's very surprising. It's not something that you could have seen beforehand. Once it passed the slow burn of setting up,
mm-hmm.
once it gets to the middle part, everything happens pretty fast.
Yeah. It's like a ticking time bomb almost. You're waiting for it.
Yeah, all the way to
Everything.
the end. I think I really love what happens after the twist,
Mm-hmm.
after the twist, and then I feel like it's kind of the opposite way of Strange Darling.
Yeah,
Strange Darling, everything happens super fast, and at the end, it kind of drags out a little bit of
yeah.
how it ends. But this one, it takes its time to setting up the twist or getting you curious enough. And then, like, a lot of things happen very fast, and you're kind of like trying to digest all the information it gives you or all the messages it's trying to deliver.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't have a problem with the pacing at all. It's like a crisp hour 40. But yeah, and I don't know, just some of the tonal shifts are kind of weird to me, especially after the big reveal. But overall, I thought this was a very good directorial debut for Zoe Kravitz. But you have any final thoughts and a final score?
Really, I went to the movie thinking it's gonna be very cringy. I thought it's gonna be a cringy story because, there are a lot of even real life story about rich people's island.
Yeah.
But the big twist, I think, the message is trying to deliver about forgetting and forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has some depth into it, and it do get people thinking, and I think you must really like the third act, because you always complain about the third act being weak, and this one
Yeah.
is actually very strong. It happens really fast, and it even got a twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was pretty satisfying to know what happens at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That justice won over evil.
Yeah. So what's your final score?
The final score is 4 out of 5.
4 to 5. Yeah, I think I'm 4 out of 5 too. I, I was intrigued by it. The payoff is worth it. That's a lot more than I can say compared to a lot of other movies I saw this year. And yeah, I liked all the elements of these movies, like Hostel, Get Out, but it's not quite as masterful as Get Out, I think. But I really liked the ending. Like it was a clever ending, and
Yeah.
it's not like it's not a happy or a bad ending. It's something to talk about for sure. Like how it ends, like the final scene, which is always interesting in these type of movies. The twist is worth it. Yeah, I'll give it a solid 4 out of 5. I recommend checking it out.
Blink twice if I'm in danger.
Well, maybe not. Let's not answer that one, right?
But that's our review for Blink Twice. If you watched it, let us know what you thought in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, and we'll see you later. Bye.